Hi, I'm Doug Maw. Welcome to my channel Vegangelical. Please take a moment to take a look at the links in the description. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and let me know anything you like about what I'm sharing and what you'd like me to share going forward. I'm happy to hear from anyone and welcome feedback of any sort, especially if I can use it to improve my message. So today I'm going to court a little bit of controversy. So I'm going to be talking about the vegan campout, which many of you will be aware has caused a little bit of debate both within the vegan community and through the national press. So let's start with some facts. The venue for the campout in previous years has been Countryside Alliance associated venue, and it's always caused a problem. There have been problems allowing hunt sabs on the land, and it's always had that connection and been a problem for Jordan and the rest of the team who are trying to provide us with a really good experience for a long weekend of activism, good food and vibing with our tribe. So that's been a bit of a thorn in their side, and I've attended most of them. I sort of swallowed it and thought, well, you know, they're just getting off the ground. They may be struggling to find better and more appropriate venues, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt. So last year I was there and Jordan got on the stage and he announced that they'd found a new venue and the association with hunting would no longer be a problem, and we were all cheering. Everyone thought that was an amazing thing to announce, and we were all looking forward to being able to celebrate together in a non-controversial venue this year. So that's a bit of context. The facts as well are that the place that vegan campout is at this year is Stanford Hall in Leicestershire, historically a hunting estate. The people who are now in charge of the place are no longer allowing hunting there, so kudos for that. Thankfully, we don't have to beat ourselves up about going to a campout that is on a place that supports directly hunting. So that's one of the facts. Another fact, however, is that it is an estate that conducts shoots, pheasant shoots. So I'll get to that shortly. So let's first address the criticisms by the Countryside Alliance's Tim Bonner, who claims it's hypocritical of vegans who have an extreme, this is his words, extreme anti-rural agenda, to be using a site that historically had hunting on it and continues to have some livestock farming and shooting on it. So I'll address that straight away. Tim Bonner, and you'll notice from my persona across these videos that I'm not generally an angry guy, but one thing that really gets me angry is hunting and shooting, and forgive me if I do get a bit animated during this talk, as Tim Bonner can go himself. I have no time for him or anyone from his organisation for people who think it's okay to take pleasure in torturing and killing animals for sport, in their words, to refer to vegans as extreme and anti-rural when we're about protecting the flora and fauna. As you know, I just won't be lectured by some prat like him. So as far as I'm concerned, criticism from him and from gamekeepers bears no power whatsoever with me, and it has no influence on my decision as to whether or not I go to and support any event, because as far as I'm concerned, people like him should be in jail because they are sick, depraved perverts. So that's that out of the way. That's how I feel about the Countryside Alliance and Gamekeepers' criticism of vegan campout. They can stuff themselves, frankly. The problem is that the fact that these people take pleasure in torturing and killing animals for sport is exactly the issue with this venue. So the new venue, Stanford Hall, as I've already said, conducts shoots. So the campout team released a statement yesterday where they made a few points which I take issue with, the way they put their argument across. They claim to be responsible for stopping hunting at the venue. If they did, fantastic, but also if they did, why the hell didn't they stop the shooting as well? Do they not know what shooting involves? For those of you involved in the vegan community who aren't aware about shooting, so many SABs will know exactly what it involves. Those of us who go out in the field and potentially risk being accosted for trespass during the off-hunting season know what else it entails. So when gamekeepers are preparing for shoots, not only do they breed birds specifically to be shot for sport, but they also do what they can to minimise any other animal harming those birds. So what they do is they kill corvids, they kill birds of prey, they kill mammals, and there are various other animals that are caught in their snares, traps and other contraptions that they liberally spread around their land in order to protect their sport. So I've been out recently on a few forays into some places that I won't name, and here are a couple of things I've found. So this, on any shooting estate you'll find lots of these. This is a snare. So what happens is an animal will stand in it or get its head in it or something, and as it keeps going the snare tightens around its neck, leg or whatever, and that animal is then trapped, and if it doesn't bite its limb free, it will die a pretty painful and horrible death. So these things are all over shooting estates. So you're not just harming birds, not that that's a good thing to harm birds, but you're not just harming the pheasants by supporting a place that supports pheasant shooting, you're also harming deer, foxes, badgers, stoats, rabbits, hares, any animal that can get caught in that. Plus they have these things. So this, I've got to be careful, I've reset it so it's over this so it won't spring closed, so I don't want to risk injury. So these are dug into hedge lines as a rule. They are called stoat traps, but they can catch any kind of small mammal, and often do. You find squirrels in them, you find stoats in them, you find rabbits in them, all sorts of things. And what happens is when that's released, when an animal goes in and puts pressure on that middle section, what happens is this springs closed and it literally crushes the animal to death. So if it's lucky, it may just smash the animal to pieces and not kill it. So these things, along with larson traps, I don't have one of them with me, but I've seen so many of them, ladder traps. These proliferate on hunting estates and shooting estates. So when you're talking about an estate that supports shooting, you're also talking about an estate that liberally harms and kills wild animals in order to protect their despicable sport. So that's a little bit about that. Now let me get on to some of the arguments used to justify the venue going ahead. So I read the post yesterday by VCO. I do understand their position, and I should say that when we are making a decision whether we go to support these events, we do a cost-benefit analysis. So we work out what the cost is. The cost is what I've just pointed out. the benefit is we get to vibe with a good tribe, we get to see some amazing speakers on a range of topics, issues and people we may not have heard of before and not been delved into. And I always take a lot from Camp Out, and I really enjoy the talks and presentations there. We also get to see those super effective activists like Ed and Joey and the rest of them, who lots of people really want to see, and you get to support Viva as well, who are my #1 charity for supporting. I think they do amazing work, so we get to see all of that. That's a benefit, and we can't take that away. And there's great food as well, great range of food, but primarily we get to be with people who share our values and potentially get to spread the message and hopefully create more opportunities for activism. So there's lots and lots of benefits. So bear those in mind alongside what I'm telling you as the costs. So I have outlined the costs, I've outlined some of the benefits, but I have to say the arguments used to justify it irritated me a little bit, because they're arguments from false equivalence. Now, anyone who's studied argument and logic will know what I mean by that. So it's a particularly pernicious form of argument, because it trains us to ignore relevant differences between things whenever that's convenient to us. So comparing, for example, buying vegan products at a supermarket that sells other products that aren't vegan, or comparing charities renting office space off a landlord who isn't vegan to having an event at a venue that conducts shoots. That is an argument from false equivalence. They are not the same thing. We have to go into supermarkets, most of us. We have no choice. We need to eat, we need to buy products to sustain us and to live our lives. We do, as vegans, the very best we can to minimise the amount of harm we inflicted upon animals. That's what veganism is. It's about being as minimalistic as possible in our harm to animals. And when people try to water it down and are apologetic vegans and say, yes, but you know, we can ignore this bit because of the greater good, you know, that it confuses non-vegans. Non-vegans don't know what we stand for. So when you're trying to make a point with them, they say, yeah, but you think it's okay to shoot birds. You think it's okay to trap in snares and horrible other forms of traps as well, wild animals to protect shooting. They say, well, you know, you're saying it's okay. Now, I know no one who's going to Camp Out and no one who's organising Camp Out would support that. It goes against everything vegans stand for. But by ignoring the fact that this venue does it, we are complicit in it. So I won't be going this year, sadly. I love Camp Out, I love everything it offers, but it's one of those things where I've weighed up the cost benefit. I think the benefits are outweighed by the costs. I don't think that arguing in the way that it has been argued to defend the choice is correct. I'll give you an example of a false equivalent argument. So it's like, on a moral issue, it's like saying when action or person X and Y share some features, it means therefore that X and Y are equally good or bad. Now, that is intrinsically false. Anyone who studied logic will know that. It is a poor way of arguing. So the justifications used are not good enough. And a friend of mine put it this way. They said that when choosing whether to go to events like these, we need to figure out, is it a must-have or a would be nice to have? And it would be nice to go to Vegan Camp Out, it would be nice to do these things, but we don't have to have it. So when we're choosing to go to a place that supports shooting and all the rest that's attached to it, the trapping, snaring etc., and killing of wild animals, then that's not something that we have to have. We can do without camp out, frankly. It's a nice thing to have, but we don't need it. If they cannot find a venue that does not support hunting and shooting, then I'm afraid they need to look harder or lose a lot of support. And I understand everyone gets really upset about this, and they're going to say, well, you vegans are like level 100 vegan, all that nonsense. It's not fair to attack people who have a moral objection to this. It's totally unfair. It's exactly the argument that you use against non-vegans every day of the week. So to use that against people who are pointing out the flaws in having this venue as a place for vegans to meet, it's disingenuous, and it makes me feel sick, to be frank. So I'll end on this. I'd just like to say that I'm not judging anyone who goes. You make your own judgment based on the costs and benefits as you see them. Do your own research, as I have. I've been in touch with Stanford Hall. I've been in touch with local SABs. I've been in touch with, I've followed the posts on VCO that justify or attempt to justify their position. I've read the comments from fellow vegans, many of whom are good friends of mine and who will disagree with me, and that's fine. You know, if they want to go ahead and go to it, and they think they've the benefits outweigh the costs, fine, go ahead, enjoy it, but please put pressure on Camp Out to change the venue next year, or pressure the venue if they really have been the driving force behind the venue stopping hunting, then surely they should get behind stopping them shooting as well. If they could do that, fantastic. I'll buy my ticket tomorrow if they do that. So thank you for listening. I hope you get as angry as I do about hunting and shooting. You're very welcome to get angry with me. I've got broad shoulders, but I'm not going to judge you for going or not going. It's entirely up to you to make that decision based on your moral compass. So I'll leave it at that, and I look forward to your comments and questions.